Dan Kolko, MacKenzie Gore. We're going to go behind the seams and learn about the Nationals left-handers arsenal. We know, MacKenzie, about your fastball, mid to upper 90s. You've been pumping it early in spring. We love that. And you've got a few off-speed weapons as well, the slider, the curveball, and the changeup. But let's focus on your two breaking pitches, your slider and your curveball. And, you know, you throw them both to righties and lefties. You actually had an identical whiff rate on those two pitches last year. Yeah, so there you go.
There we go.
So they've both been really effective for you. Let's start with the curveball. Would you say the curveball has been consistently for you kind of the more trustworthy of the two?
I think the curveball, I've thrown for strikes a lot more than the slider.
Okay.
So it's a pitch that has been in the zone more. So yeah, I guess you could say that. I probably, throw it in some different counts than I would the slider so far at this point. But yeah, it's been good.
So let's show us how you grip the curveball, and then we can talk about that pitch a little bit, and then compare it to the slider a little later on.
I mean, pretty, I guess you would say standard. I just kind of get inside this little horseshoe here and tuck the ring finger, and I play around with the thumb, kind of however it's feeling. There are days that I'll kind of, if I'm warming up and I don't really like the way it feels, and I'll kind of change it a little bit. And,
interesting.
It's very similar, but if a pressure, with the middle finger or the thumb, I might change that at some point. So yeah, that's kind of where I start, and if I need to, as the game goes along and it's not very good, I'll tinker with it and get something that's comfortable.
Has that always been something that you've done, is tinker with the finer points of the pitch throughout the course of an outing if it's not really feeling totally sharp?
No, I kind of learned that last year when I was pitching with some of those guys that spin the ball really well. They were just like, sometimes the grip doesn't feel great. You got to change it a little bit. And, so yeah, I kind of just started doing that last year or so, but it's been good. So.
And the feel upon release is what? Are you trying to really snap it, or is it not as much an emphasis of really getting on top of it?
I want to be aggressive late. I want the curveball's around 80. But I want it to be sharp. I want it to, break late, and I don't want hitters to see it early. So, yeah, the thought is to be aggressive late, and that we should move the way we want it to.
Same overall curveball grip that you've had dating back to high school days?
Yep, pretty much the same one.
Who taught it to you back then?
I didn't start throwing it until high school. I had a guy that kind of gave me lessons growing up. And he taught me this curveball. So, it's kind of been the one I've thrown, and I've messed with the ring finger and the thumb and putting it in different places to. But other than that, it's pretty similar.
So there again, middle finger's going on that kind of the edge of that seam there.
Yeah, pushing to the seam, and this one's just kind of there, and then the thumb kind of does what I feel like it needs to do.
Tucked on that bottom seam.
Yep, and then we just try to throw it hard. So.
Okay, so that's the curveball. Let's go to the slider now, and tell me how the grip changes and also how the feel of the pitch changes between these two.
Slider's pretty different. I'm on this side of the horseshoe for right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I really just try to throw this pitch hard. I want it to be upper 80s, around 90, and I want it to just kind of have a little right turn on it, and it to be late. So this one's more really just almost. I have, like I said, there's always a thought with the middle finger and the thumb, but it's really just throw this one hard and have it in the zone.
Is mindset fastball even with this grip? You say you're trying to throw it hard. You kind of let the grip do the work of the movement.
Yeah, for the most part, if the grip's where it should be, and I just kind of think fastball, then it should do what it's supposed to do. So, the slider's been good, and it's been in the zone more this spring so far. It's been a pitch in the past where I just try to get a lot of chase with it, and I needed to get it in the zone to get more chase. So that's kind of what I've been working on, and it's been good so far.
So some guys will call a similar type of pitch to this a cutter.
Yeah.
And maybe not a huge difference in terms of the way the ball is going to move. I was talking to Max Scherzer, who said that he threw a slider, he added a cutter, and for him, framing it in his head as a cutter kind of allowed him to approach the pitch differently. Does calling this pitch a slider as compared to a cutter do anything for you mentally?
I kind of always called it a slider.
Okay.
But if you look at the characteristics, I guess you could even call it a cutter. It's got the characteristics of the you know, the Kershaw and the DeGrom sliders where they don't necessarily have a lot of horizontal break, or they're you know, or really big, but they're hard and late, and that's what we want. So so yeah, I guess you could call it a cutter slider. I don't really even know whatever you want to call it. So
We'll stick with what you're calling it.
but yeah, I just want it to be hard and late. So
Now, as a lefty, your slider's gonna, you know, sweep away from left-handed hitters, so that's probably who you're gonna primarily throw it to. But your confidence in throwing this pitch to right-handers right now is what?
yeah, I mean, it's an out pitch, being able to back foot, you know, and even backdoor it at times, get some soft contact. So it's a swing and miss pitch to, you know, left-handers and right-handers. And it's nice when you know, you have the AD and then you have the upper 80s that can get on the back foot as well. So.
Is this a grip that you've also had dating back to your high school days, or has this one kind of evolved a little bit more?
Yeah, this one's changed quite a bit. Whatever's comfortable. There was times where it didn't do a whole lot, so we had to change it. And, yeah, but right now this one feels good. We're gonna, you know, roll with this one.
And let's talk about the changeup a little bit. We don't have to get into this as much, but you threw the changeup like 5% last year. I know you've been tinkering it with it down here in spring a little bit more, trying to make an emphasis to throw it more. Do you see that carrying over to the regular season and trying to up that changeup usage, or is it more about finding the right spots for it within ABs?
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, the changeup is better. The characteristics are better
than it was last year.
Yeah. So it's a pitch that, you know, going out there with 4 weapons is a lot better than 3. So yeah, there's going to be times where we use it, and but as we get more comfortable, I think it's going to be a good pitch for us, and it's going to open a lot of things. Going away from right-handers is going to be good.
So let's go through it again. The curveball is kind of, again, middle finger on that seam there.
Yep. Then the slider is here, just kind of right on those rollings,
and curveball you're trying to get on top of it, snap it off. Slider.
And then slider just
grip it and rip it.
Yep, that's right.
MacKenzie Gore taking us behind the seams. This was awesome. MacKenzie, thanks so much.
Yep, thanks for having me.